like, what nameless are we going to get at this tournament? And I think this game is going to tell us a lot about that.
Well, we've got the map ban started now, and it's Stark and Skeege, the two team captains, and you can see them there just discussing with the rest of their team about what they want to do. So nameless started off with the first ban on Reckoner. It is just a coin toss for who gets the first ban and first pick. Comfortably Spanked reply with a ban on Process. Nameless pick Gullywash, and it's going to be Product as well. Kaidus, thoughts?
The Reckoner ban is making complete sense. Nameless would probably have banned that in any situation because they had a reasonably close match against Spanked on it earlier this week in ETF12. I think they'll be disappointed with the ban of Process by Comfortably Spanked. I think it's a map they wanted to play, not necessarily because they felt it was their best route to win, but it's because a map they wanted to kind of gain some experience on going to the tournament. The fact Nameless picked Gullywash, that pretty much tells you they're in this to win this. They're not thinking about trying things out or experimenting or figuring out things for late games to come later.
Yeah.
The fact they picked Gully, that means they're here to win, and they've taken it seriously, and they rate this opponent quite a lot. The Product pick is going to be an interesting one. I think that's just kind of based on the weird results that Nameless had on Product earlier. But I'm not sure if that's the right pick for Comfortably Spanked, to be honest. I would have much rather see them go to something like a Snake War, which happens to be in, so they've got lucky there with the remaining map. I think they were probably going to have better luck on Snake War, but I'm questioning. I don't think Spanked are going to get to Snake War based on these maps.
I think for Product, it's something that Comfortably Spanked have been really trying to work on, and that they beat Crowns earlier in the season, and they have been having reasonable performances against other teams by just putting Denier on full-time sniper, and then they'll run Vanny either on pocket or scout, and he's really an excellent scout, actually. He was surprising me at how good he was on scout. So I can see why they've picked that, but I agree with you that if they're expecting a repeat of the previous Nameless performances, like when they had the whole vaccinator thing and it threw them off and they weren't able to perform against PC Master Race, if they're expecting a repeat of that from Nameless, I think they'll be sorely mistaken.
Yeah, and it doesn't really make any sense to me either, because if you're going to ask a question of Nameless, this event, it's Captain on Scout, but Captain scouting on Viaduct, there's nothing to that for him. You stand there, you get, because obviously Stark was this really intelligent flank scout, but on Product, not even Stark was doing that. He was playing on the heels as an integral part of the combo quite a lot. So the fact they're just going to put Captain in his comfort zone where he can play that style and not even have to try and adapt to be a bit more like Stark, on his first game on LAN on Scout, if I was Comfortably Spanked, I would have looked to put more pressure on Captain.
Have they made it easy here for Nameless to get a cheap win, Admirable?
Well, Kaidus was telling me a couple of weeks ago that he still thought that Product was Nameless's best map. I'm yet to be convinced by that. We've had those upset results in ETF2L, but at the same time, I can't say that I feel like it's Comfortably Spanked's best map. They've just picked it because they think that they might have a little edge on it if Nameless are still shaky there, perhaps. But I mean, you're always playing against the clock in King of the Hill, whereas maybe the moments where Denia gets a chance to really frustrate teams and put them under pressure is where it's those 5 CP maps where you can hold and slow the game down and dictate the pace a bit. But in Koth, you're always forced to make plays or kind of, you are playing against the clock. So I'm not sure how well that's going to work out for them. I still want to believe in the underdog story, but the maps look good for Nameless.
I don't really understand the Process ban for Comfortably Spanked. They haven't done their research, that says to me, because Nameless haven't scrimmed Process once. In TF2, we have this luxury of being able to see every other team's scrims because of logs RTF, and they haven't played the map once with this lineup. If they picked it, it would have been a huge. If Nameless had gone to pick that map, it would be such a huge gamble. I don't know why you would use your ban on that, considering, I don't know, whether everything else taken into account, that seems like a waste of a ban. So I don't think they've done this VO particularly intelligently, to be honest.
I think as well that the team is fairly decent on Process from what I can remember. Denier is certainly in his comfort zone on Process. The thing that I wanted to talk about here, though, is Gullywash as well, because at the moment, we've not even discussed it. We've kind of just written it off towards Nameless. Do you think Comfortably Spanked have any avenue into this map? What are they going to have to do if they want to get in and have a really good start against the #1 seed here?
It's going to come down to mids. I mean, they played this map in ECF2L just earlier this week. They won it something like 3-1 in the end for Nameless, but I actually went back and looked at the demo of this game, and they lost pretty much every mid, did Nameless, but they didn't lose it in a legitimate sense, they were outplayed by Comfortably Spanked. There was a lot of communication errors and various kind of beefed rollouts and things like this, lack of communication about the beefed rollouts. So they lost all the mids by default. It's kind of like a Div 2 style of mid they were playing. where they don't even get in and contest. They just kind of...
Yeah.
They just sort of... like, they show up in, like, they don't even get through big door. Spud fails his rollout, goes big door, arrives on mid with 80 HP. Oh, whoops, we've buggered it, let's leave. But that was kind of the mids. So... But they won the game in spite of that. In spite of losing, I think, 4 out of 5 mids, they won the game. And now, like, they've talked about their mids. Spud has a plan B in case he's not hitting his rollouts. Kind of captain has been tutored on how to put pressure on the other team's demo because they were giving a Disky who's not even here this time. They have Settler, like, too much space to pressure big door. But they're going to fix all of these mistakes. Like, this is a team that, like, they don't let these same mistakes happen twice. I mean, the way they are lately, they make brand new mistakes, and it's laughable to see at times. But they won't make the same mistakes twice in a row, basically. So I think they're just going to crush the mids.
Admirable, if you had to be right behind comfortably Spanked now and you're giving them your words of encouragement or words of advice, what do they need to accomplish in order to get this? Kaidus says they need to really take control of the mid fights and try and pressure nameLess into maybe falling back into old errors if that's even possible. What do comfortably Spanked need to bring out of the hat?
I think that's exactly it. They just need to keep them under continuous pressure because we saw in the official where nameLess without kaidus, perhaps, or I suppose that's the narrative, they were a little bit indecisive at times, and they kind of hesitated. Maybe it's going to be a different story now with Stark playing pocket, calling the shots that way, moving Permzilla around the map. But whenever it was Captain and Perm, it just seemed to be like this little hint of indecision. Mistakes were made, and maps were lost. So if comfortably Spanked can just keep the pressure on, making it really difficult for nameLess, then I think they can get a few rounds. I'm not sure if they can get a few maps, but mid-fight's definitely very crucial. I'm looking forward to seeing the wild card, the X factor of Setlet, how he's going to fare off against Spud as well.
That certainly is a wild card, right? Just throwing Setlet into the mix. Whenever you see him play with PC Master Race, he goes for like a super pipe-heavy approach, along with these crazy sticky traps that he sits and watches for half of the game. What kind of... They have so many wildcard players on there. What does Settler add to the mix that Adisky doesn't, Kaidus?
I think he just adds this random factor. If nameLess get off to a good start and can control the game, then I think, honestly, Settler's only a detriment from that point. If the game can turn messy and players can get stressed and frustrated and start trying to rush things or force the issue, then the kind of random things Settler throws into the mix become really helpful, whereas Adisky was just like stable. Like, I mean, he would do some quickie bomber in these sorts of strats that would throw teams off, but in general, he was relatively stable, like reasonable DM, reasonable like positioning, played quite well with Skeege, whereas Settler to me is like kind of the opposite. He's just gonna win or lose you games based on the random things he does, but he only wins them if the other team lets him win them, if you catch my meaning.
Yeah.
He can't take control of the game with the way he plays, so it's really like up to nameLess to make mistakes first, and then Settler can kind of come into the fray. Which brings me on to a point. I think it's going to be really interesting to see how nameLess approach the beginning of this game, because something we classically did when I was more involved in the lineup was we would never lose the first round. Like, we would be super conscious of not giving away the first round, even if it meant just giving up second, going to last, and camping out on last or whatever. We would make sure we never lose the first round, get one round, and then play it from there. And I know the way Stark calls, like in online games, in scrims, I've not actually seen how Stark's going to call, because I know that he's not thinking about this in the scrim scenarios. So I'm really intrigued to see how Stark is going to approach these things when it's like on the line on land, how it now that it counts. Because it's just not something that crosses his mind the rest of the time. So that's going to be really intriguing for me.
Well, we'll be able to see that right now, because we are going live with our first map of the TF2 tournament here at Dreamhack Summer. It's nameLess versus Comfortably Spanked, and we're live on Philly Watch Admirable.
There's actually Vanny gets the first frag onto Drag. Tom's in onto Spud. Demoman down right now from nameLess, and they are retreated. It is 4v4 here on the middle, but territory has just been conceded there by nameLess. Comfortably Spanked are trying to isolate Stark here in the elbow, but they actually do get the frag onto Stark and bait out the scout aggression at the same time. But it seems like Comfortably Spanked are going to be able to just compose themselves here and hold on. They're just trying to get this last pick here onto Captain, who tried to rush in to save Stark to buy that time for him to get out, but he just ended up null and void there. So 2 frags that could have been avoided, I think.
Yeah, Permzilla does escape with the Ubercharge, and he's going to be able to get out with his life. It looks like they're actually contesting or attempting to on top with their flank, but Drak falls, and that gives him a 14-second respawn. So an opportunity perhaps for Comfortably Spanked to push into last. We've got Captain on heavy and Happy on sniper, attempting to hold this one off, and it looks like they're coming in from the riverside.
Uber popped off here immediately, allows a few seconds there for Perm to milk it. They have an option to push out on this if they want to, but they just seem very conscious about players being behind. But we just noticed that Hank is going to ghost out, but Happy Cool chases him down, busted. And only Vanny and Skeech remaining alive here from that failed push by Comfortably Spanked. But Skeech has stayed alive, and that's going to be very crucial to keep his team in the Uber race.
Yeah, it certainly is. And Denia is on sniper, so they're going to be kind of set up now. There's going to be a bit of a slowdown in the game, and Denia is going to try and take advantage of that. Sees somebody there. That was one of the scouts, possibly Captain, playing over at that big door area. If he gets another angle like that, he may get a pick that opens things up. Denia he's actually incredibly consistent at hitting these body shots. I don't know whether I've ever seen someone who hits body shots with such consistency, and when he's paired with the Machina as well, it does so much more damage.
Charging up here at Choke. Hoping to see somebody just get baited into Vanny there. He's trying to take the heals, act as that distraction, but just a very controlled play here from nameLess. They know exactly what's happening. And we're going to see Denia switching it up here to Big Door, trying to see if he can catch even a pixel of a blue player here. We have the luxury of seeing those player outlines, but Denia doesn't know exactly where anyone is. He's just trusted his instincts here. Thousands of hours poured into the game, all coming into this moment. They're getting so close. Sniper on sniper action, but he whiffs the first shot. He's going to peek again. He's charging it up. Oh, balls of steel. Captain the one to choke here.
Yeah, Captain walked all the way back to spawn as Scout, switched up onto Sniper and came back into the fray. Gets pegged by Denia, but I don't know whether... Oh, they are actually going to use this one. In comes the Ubercharge from Choke, and they're going to attempt to make something happen here. The counter Uber comes out, but so much later, and it may be Skeech that gets caught. He's stuffed in this corner, grabs the health gun, is going to be able to escape, and now Vanny trying to pour damage into everybody. Does pick up Stark there, and so we have 2 players down on Comfortably Spanked for the 1 pocket of nameLess. Is this going to set something up? Tom went in for a play and does get picked as well. So now there's 3 players down. This has got to be their signal to go.
But we still have Denia chilling at the Big Door. He's just looking for an angle here. Gonna dome Captain, gets disintegrated. Stark's holding closer, or Drag's holding closer on the Big Door side, just making sure Denia doesn't get another opportunity. But every time you peek this guy to slam him back, you're just running that risk that he's going to go off, he's going to explode.
They've actually shoved somebody in. That's Vanny, who played the little secret area, but there's somebody flanking as well. Happy-Cool. Captain attempted to flank it. They've got the pick onto Skeech as well. Skeech falls and has the medic down there. That's so important. Gives the health advantage and the Ubercharge advantage over to nameLess. Now they can push in. They have the regeneration and they have the invincibility. So it's an enormous advantage that they're making great use of. Denia tries to pop off a shot, but he's going to get pressured down by Captain. And this has just paved the way for nameLess to be able to pick up second here and attempt to push last with the Ubercharge.
These decisions are not making any sense for Comfortably Spanked at the moment. They won the mid, took it all the way to last, and now that's just 3 random pushes they've done based on micro advantages. They've lost every single engagement. They do 1 trade onto last, it's a mess. They lose second. They do one engagement onto mid, onto second. Sorry, they lose mid off the back of it, and now they try and repush mid and lose their own second. So 3 of these random full commit trades, they've all failed 3 in a row. I think that's a really bad approach for them.
The Pyro is going to be disintegrated then, and down goes Hank, and that has opened the door for the rest of nameLess to come in. They find another pick as well onto Tom. Happy falls as he tries to play the point here, and Vanny's doing a decent job of getting damage out, but everybody is falling around him, and with only 3 players left alive, this is going to be so difficult for Comfortably Spanked to hold, and they go up 1-0. And this kind of is just exactly what Kaidus was talking about in terms of them being sure that they take the first round. They did lose the mid-fight, they got pushed all the way back to their last, had an excellent hold there, and were just able to slowly grind out the first round.
It was made really easy for them, to be honest, because they just Comfy Spank committed just 3 times, on 1 pick. It's just not really a very smart play.
There goes Settler on the right-hand side, and he's trying to lock out Spud. Spud's having to rotate all the way back around to Big Door, but they have just traded sides here, so the Devilman advantage just for the moment in favor of Settler, who hits a big air shot, but gets destroyed by Drag's bomb.
Zilla under big pressure here, drops off the edge there to try and avoid a rocket that gets taken out by the scattergun of Denia, but only Vanny remains alive here for Comfortably Spanked, as nameLess seem to be getting into their own comfort zone here. They did lose the medic, but they'll be happy to take this mid fight And I just really have to agree with what Kaidus was saying there about how Company Spanked are totally overcommitting to a lot of these engagements. Like even that last fight that ended up losing in the round, Skeege went down and they all just tried to suicide in on nameLess, but like they were just so prepared for it. Like they need to be a little bit more creative, perhaps.
They had like such a room there to play for time. They could have prevented nameLess from taking the second cap. Like there was a 3v3 that was still going on mid, but they decided to commit in a situation they were never going to win, and it means they lose second now, which they're actually contesting it and actually bullying nameLess back.
They do drop Vanny, but they got the early pick onto Stark, who was hiding in a creative position himself, but got spotted out instantly by the 2 scouts and comfortably spanked, and he went down. He was attempting to make a play there onto the medic of Skeege. He manages to get that pick, and Permzilla stays up. That's a great advantage for them, but in terms of the Ubers, they're both going to be up in the next few seconds. So the teams have an ability here to broach the choke points, but for now, they're going to be attempting to get a pick before they trade the Ubers, and with no snipers on the field, they might attempt to throw somebody behind. With Stark not on the team anymore, and it being captain, is that still something that nameLess aim to do, just kind of push a player behind and try and open up the flank in that way?
I think it's quite possible. I mean, Stark did that play because that was a play Stark thinks is a good decision to make in the situation. So as we see now, captain's gone behind. Stark would have told him to do that because that's Stark's concept of the game. And it's the best thing you can come up with for the situation. Like Captain behind, Soul is chasing on River. No one's really committing to chase Captain, but I mean, the longer this goes on, the more nervy it gets to Company Spanked. Captain losing the 1v1 close though, but they don't really lose anything for this engagement. As long as Stark actually goes down, that's a huge blunder.
Stark sacked in there actually in order to make use of the distraction, I can only assume, in order to try and force the Ubercharge out of Skeege. But with him going down, that's 2 players, and that should open up the choke point. Skeege should be able to get an easy entry in, but the spawn's about to come in. Stark only 4 seconds left, so nameLess can certainly commit to a fight here. Settled, bombing forward, attempting to get damage onto them, and nameLess have just given it up for the moment. Happy Cool though stuck in this elbow area, and the Uber comes back in from nameLess.
I feel like Company Spanked could have done a lot more to control choke there, but they've allowed them to come in. They're going to take this Uber trade. Rack's already down to settle Sticky. Spud is going to be joining him in the spawn queue. So Stark, this is looking disastrous for nameLess right now. If Permzilla can stay alive, they still have a solid chance to hold on to last, but only Denia, the casualty there for Comfortably Spanked, who are in control of middle and now already rolling through big door here onto CP4, and they are hungry for frags. Vanny's already taking a look into the lobby here, trying to get position, see if he can catch anyone out, but they don't have Uber for another 20 seconds here, and we've already, if they're paying attention, listening to the audio cues here, they can hear that gun going up from Happy. They take a look and see Captain playing heavy here, so it's full turtle mode right now for nameLess.
nameLess going to be attempting to hold on to this one. They know that they have a slight Uber disadvantage as well because Permzilla was disconnected from his heals, wasn't able to build up the Uber, so Skeege might be attempting to go with this one. They're peeking over towards Riverside, seeing if they can get an angle. They have got the Uber charge now, but there's only 15%.
Oh, he had the shot there onto Permzilla, but couldn't connect it. You could see his legs, his knees, his thighs, but just whiffed it. That shooting star though, he's moving down the left hand side again, but this time they're aware of the threat. Drak's currently quite low, so he can't necessarily pressure him back. Then he's just trying to dodge in between these rockets to see if he can land something, but Drak is going to be the sheriff here. Shuts him down, puts him in jail, and back to the drawing board for Denia. He's got the opportunity to off-pass here in 12 seconds, but we see a push out there from Stark. But it's Captain Stark and Drak all going down. They tried to get aggressive off the back of that sniper pick, but they might have just gifted the round here to Comfortably Spanked.
It looks like it. It certainly looks like it. It's Spud against the world here. He is fully buffed and Ubered, and he's just trying to buy enough time. The spawn's coming in 3 seconds, but if he can get taken down and they play the point, here come the rest of nameLess. They're all flooding onto the point here, and surely going to be able to defend it. What a clutch play from Spud. Able to buy enough time for his spawners to come in, and it looks like they're getting the better end of this fight. They are going to be able to take down Skeege, Settler, Vanny getting pressured as well. Tom has just come off the respawn and doesn't really know whether to commit or not. He's in Riverside, might go for a sneaky play, but he's just being harassed out. That was so close on nameLess.
What were they doing? I didn't actually see what happened. How did they lose so many players? Like, what were they just pressing on one pick and they just like throw half their team away?
Yeah, pretty much. And then they had their combo holding last, or rather the demo and medic with the Uber just sat really passive on last.
They've looked so shaky in this round. I mean, going back to that, like that play they made with Captain behind when they had control of mid, was Stark dying, and then they just kind of give up the point, even though they already had their spawns. Like, and then they let them cap and then contest mid. This is not like the way I would like to see them play when they have the lead. Like, 1-0 lead on Gully Watch, you could make that work to your advantage. Like, for so long, making the other team have to do difficult pushes, but they're kind of just gifting it at the moment. Like, they're really not playing the odds very well. They're lucky still to be in the lead of this game. Like, it has to be said, this game, by all accounts, by all rides, should be 1-1 at the moment.
Absolutely, and they're going to attempt to make it 1-1 here with a crits play coming in onto Settler, but the sticky trap finds two. Spud finds Settler and Tom, and they're mincing them in the choke point here. So difficult to push through Gully Wash choke, just pushing in through that tiny little entrance when there's so much spam is really difficult. In comes Denia, but Spud again just deals with it.
That was, it caught me by surprise at least. I was not paying attention to the fact that the crit switch up had occurred. But I mean, they got those two initial frags, the crits, they could have just stopped there and taken a breather, tried to push off that advantage, but they really just threw themselves into the meat grinder there, and Spud was the recipient of so many fat frags. Skeech has decided to switch back to the Medigun here, but Permzilla sitting on full charge. They have just lost Drac up top there. And it seems like just off this one-man advantage, we're going to see a little bit of a contest coming out from Comfortably Spanked, but with Settler going down, they're now caught in two mines. They've got no control of the lobby. They are very much aware that the flank is leaky. They're trying to run back here through Riverside. Stark knows where Kai's going to be, or where Skeech is going to be. He jumps in onto him. Skeech is surfing 3 rockets there, duped, but does eventually go down to the scattergun of Captain. And nameLess just trying to look for a good position here after Uber. They still have some weak players. Happy's going to get an arrow there and make a dash for the point. Only Hank alive right now, and that will be 2-0 to nameLess. But boy, was that a hard round.
That was an Epsilon-esque turn of play, though. The way they just win that one fight and just steamroll like the entire length of the map from second to last. They just go like that. Reminds me of like iPhone on Epsilon. It's like vintage, just like knock style calling, where you're playing slow, you're playing defensive, and then you just see an opening and you just take it all the way. It's like exactly what they did there off the back of that 4K from Spud, who will be feeling great after that, by the way.
Yeah, it certainly will. I think they made it really easy for them once again, though, Comfortably Spanked. They took a fight on second where Permzilla had the Uber charge instead of just holding last. So a difference in how these two teams are approaching it, but the difference in how these two teams are approaching the mid-fight as well, because Comfortably Spanked went so aggressive on the right-hand side, pressured them out. What was that play? Stark and Vanny both trading with each other in mid-air with some ridiculous shots, just fireworks popping off. Admirable.
I'm very excited to see Comfortably Spanked taking another middle here. This was kaidus' key success for nameLess, that they would dominate those mid-fights, but it hasn't been that way so far as we're in round number 3 here. With 16 minutes and 30 seconds left on the clock, it still feels like it's anyone's game. I know it's 2-0 here to nameLess, but Comfortably Spanked have definitely shown that they can engineer chances. They just need to grasp onto one of those chances and convert it into a round. And this is exactly the situation now. It is Uber versus Uber here, but let's see what Spanked have in the playbook.
I really hope that, well, I say hope, but for nameLess' sake, I hope they are recognizing the state of the game at the moment. 2-0 lead, 15 minutes to play. Not really the most convincing performance from them so far. Like, the mids are not going their way, so if they're losing one round, it could really turn on them quite quickly. So I'm really I'm expecting / hoping to see them really slow things down from here on out, and not pushing on random picks at this point. Like, if Spanked want to sack in one guy, like they just picked Tom now, I really don't want to see them rush off and try and make something of this that it's not. Because all it is, it's a soldier pick. They're not really going to do anything with it. Happy from staying sniper, which indicates they're not actually going to do anything. Captain staying on heavy, Happy on sniper like this setup, it just means they're just looking for another pick. Sometimes you will see Stark pull for these guys to go back and scout, because he wants to make a play or take a trade or go for a force or do something a bit more committal. The fact you see them staying on these classes means that they're happy on last. You actually see Vanny on heavy now, so probably going to see a trade coming in soon with the heavier repush.
Yeah, we're going to see a classic push into Gully Wash last here with heavy. I know that Mike used to be a huge fan of this play, but I haven't seen Comfortably Spanked use this before. So it's going to be interesting to see how they utilize this off-class. And Denia is also on sniper as well, so they've got 2 off-classes in order to open something up and then commit with the Uber charge. So it's really on Denia to start this process off, because otherwise Vanny is just totally useless. I guess if it goes badly for him as well, they can always just back off to second and try and hold on to that, but they are 2-0 down, and there's half of the map time gone already, so it gets more and more difficult the more the map timer disappears away for them to get back into this game.
Yeah, I mean, the heavy repush can be effective, but not so much whenever the defending team also has a heavy. Like, they're going to end up trading Ubers and try and repush with their heavy, but we're expecting nameLess, have good position, have good health post-fight, so it's maybe going to be the 3rd or 4th push before they can actually break it if they don't horribly overcommit. But right now, Denia is trying to find that frag, but again, Drac is going to be able to shut him down. His spam has been good on that Riverside to keep Denia from finding his target.
Afi was really lucky to survive just now. He got really aggressive in main, committed a long time. He got a slight inkling where Steve was and was charging the shot. But if nameLess lose a player right now, it could go dark for them really quick, because being like 5v6 with a heavy repush, it's really, really difficult actually to cope with that. I mean, the fact that there was a sniper on the field of Denia was pretty much the only thing, I think, for Comfortably Spanked that prevents them from pushing, because I think you actually have the advantage in that repush with the heavy. And I'm really surprised to see what Denia is doing now as well, because I think with the heavy, like, the repush is so advantageous. You just get a semi-decent trade, survive with 6 guys and do the repush. It's kind of crazy, but I don't think they'll expect this.
Denia in on the espionage, man. He's underneath here.
They know. They know. I'm pretty sure they were pre-firing there into the shadow area. I think somebody maybe caught him with a piece of spam as he was going.
No, I think Happy checked. I think Happy just makes a habit of checking every time someone spawns. And he, like, with someone like Daniel, you're going to check that every time. You saw Happy was actually running around on Pyro for a few seconds, so he knew what was going on. He was the spy.
Yeah, that's a really heads-up play as well. That just shows you the level of awareness as well. That Happy goes back and changes to spy, checks it to see whether they're running those off classes. Knows that Denia, you know, he's done his research. He knows that Denia is famous for that kind of stuff. What do you think about the way that they have their off classes set up on last? They have Captain on the heavy and Happy Cool on sniper. Happy hasn't made anything work so far on sniper all game when he's switched over to it. Is this the correct way around to have these off classes? Personally, it seems more advantageous to have Captain on that role.
I think Captain is a lightning gun on heavy, though. He's really, really like strong on heavy. Like, no one's getting, well, maybe now that Happy's down, it's going to be a bit more open, but no one's getting anywhere near perm when Captain's on heavy. He's really, really like super dependable on that. Like, Happy is sniping just because it's like, what else do you really do when they have a sniper? You just, maybe you get something, maybe you don't. They don't really lose anything for it. Especially see a trade happening in lobby at the moment.
Yeah, there is. Both of the Ubers have been traded. Captain finds a pick onto Denia, but Denia had already picked up. Happy Goal and Captain goes down, overextending too hard for that pick, and here comes the heavy repush. Vanny just so weak, but manages to mow down Stark. He is so weak, just getting healed up now, and now he's fully buffed, and there's only 2 players left alive. This has got to be a round. Only Permzilla left, and that was just excellent play with the repush on heavy as well, but Captain got baited into lobby there on the Uber trade.
I don't know what they're doing, like committing into lobby there. Like, they're 2 rounds up, there's 15 minutes left. They're like slowly running out of ideas coming from Spanked, and they just kind of gift it to them. Like, if they just all survive there, then all they can do is like commit on them, and that's a much better position for you if your name is. Big mistake.
Well, big mistake. They are 2-1 up here, nameless, with 11.5 minutes left. Let's take a look at the 4th mid fight, Admirable.
Happy Cool putting a little bit of pressure on the right-hand side, but it is going to be sides being exchanged here, or actually red and blue on each of their own sides. Bomb forward there from Stark, the Vanny bomb onto the little metal roof. Does actually set up a frag there. Denia, Sailor, Vanny and Hank all going down just like that, but Permzilla.
So much damage from Drac. He just comes up, drop down, and just crushes the entire team. They're all clustered on Cho because he comes up just at the exact perfect moment. We still have Tom underneath actually, but they're well aware of him. I don't think Tom's getting anything done with 56 HP. He's just right for the picking. But really, really, really big play by Drac on that mid. The timing was exquisite.
And with just over 10 minutes left now, and the fact that Comfortably Spanked have got to go all the way back to their last, this is going to be a super sticky situation for them. Although they are attempting to make something happen up top, they really want to try and go for this one. I don't know whether they're trying to get a play onto Permzilla, who doesn't have his Uber charge up. They're still only on 50%, so they are taking this fight. They've lost Settler and Hank now, though, and they're only 4 up. Drax attempted to get damage onto the sniper as well, but Denia takes him down. Down he goes, and it's actually 4v4 as well, so they could recommit to this one, but I think they give up a bit of position and just want to fall back to last. Both of the Ubers about to come into the equation, though, and this is not a good situation here if you're Comfortably Spanked and want to get back into the game.
Yeah, according to Skeeter's plot there, like, they couldn't have actually contested because Perfect went very well have Uber, but I have no idea why they're now pushing in with this Uber and trading. This, like, 10 minutes, 1-0 lead, why would you take this random trade on last? I don't really understand it. Sark's going to get caught out in lobby most likely. If he survives, he's a very lucky boy. I don't really understand that decision at all.
Well, they decided to take the trade there, and now it's all just reset. Denia did die right at the beginning of the push. He was on Pyro, even though they had the Uber, and Skeech decided not to Uber him, just dropped him. He can respawn after the Ubers are done with, I guess. So both of the teams do have 6 alive. Vanny on the defensive heavy as well, and now nameless set up outside, now that they don't have the Uber. But what would you like to see them do once they do get the Uber? Should they attempt to make this one a 3-1 lead and make it, you know, really push it further out of the grasp of Comfortably Spanked, or is taking any risk at this point just an adverse risk? Oh, and we've got Denia on Spy as well while you give us the lowdown.
I was going to say, step 1, it's get Uber. Step 2, it's take over lobby. Step 3, get Permzilla in a corner. with a shield around his back, because that guy has no awareness of spies whatsoever. It's actually awful to see at some points. Spud's actually going to get picked by Denia, but I mean, with Drac down as well, that could open something up. But I mean,
I think they have to go for this.
Yeah.
With 2 down and it's Drac and Spud. Spud does so much area control if they're trying to hold on to second. And Denia is actually still on spy. They've done this thing where they carry on doing it, and he's looking to come up elbow, and Permzilla's just right there.
Captain's found a 1v1 on the back cap. Oh, so close.
Denny is right behind Permzilla as well, just coming up straight behind him and gets the backstab actually. Down goes Permzilla, drops the Uber charge, and this has just gifted it towards Comfortably Spanked. He pops off the Uber, that's Skeege, and now they have a 4v3 to work with. Spud attempted to get into lower lobby for the back cap. Hafiko's already been picked up going for it as well, and there is only Stark alive, and he is miles away, so momentum shift completely in favor here of Comfortably Spanked off a sick play by Denny, who just commits so hard to the spy. He really wants to make it work, and he came out with huge stuff in the actual league game against nameLess as well. What is going on with their spy awareness?
You really have to scratch your head and ask what's going through Permzilla's head in these situations, because we actually see this time and time again. I watched him scrim, and it's like if Haffy isn't just trailing around that guy's back and watching it all the time, it's like he only looks around once a minute, even when the spy's already known. It's a real flaw in his game, and I mean, I know his team's spoken to him about it in the past. It's just he just for some reason forgets to look around for spies. 99% of the time, it's on his teammates to watch his back for him. I don't really know. I can't explain it, but it's a real weakness. You can't put it any other way. And luckily, Skeege, the Uber situation evened out in all of that. But I mean, from where they were to where they are now, they had full control to now they just have kind of the lead, and they're completely out of control.
Oh, but that is nasty, dropping Settler in that situation. Stark does go down, but they committed so many people to this Uber trade as well. They just really used the Uber just to flood their way in through the choke, and they've dropped Denia as well. So now in a 5v4, but they've seen the rotation go through Big Door, and they might be tempted just to try and rotate this one. No, they're coming back to fight it on mid, but down goes Tom, who was completely unsupported. And now with that Uber trade, I don't know what they were going for really. Once again with the Uber trade, they took so many people in through the choke point with the Uber that as soon as that Uber fades, and it's going to be a short one because you're flashing into so many people anyway, as soon as that fades, you're in enemy territory, locked out by stickies with number disadvantage.
I think it might be one of these situations where because you killed the enemy medic earlier, you think in your head you have the advantage. Just to look at your natural instincts, because you frag the med, you think, yeah, we have an advantage maybe if we go fast. So I think they were looking to multi through the choke and just try and catch them out, but obviously they were not caught out.
Yeah, maybe some kind of breakdown in communication there, because it seemed like Settler and Vanny both thought they were going to take the Uber in, but the spacing was poor, and Stark was able to just do so much damage there at close range with that rocket launcher, a few fat wrecks as well. But right now, it is Uber versus Uber, and there are only 6 minutes and 15 seconds left on the clock. Still 2-1 here to nameLess. They are in that driving seat, but it's looked a little sketchy. Plenty of mistakes made by both teams, but Comfortably Spanked still within reach. They find a pick onto Captain here. They can try and sack someone in here, see if they can catch Permzilla off guard. They're going to make space for Denia at Big Door. It seems he's moving forward slowly but surely, trying to find that angle. Permzilla, he's well hidden there behind the crates. Denia is going to be forced back.
They gave him so much respect there, though. He was able to stand there and watch for so long. I mean, Drac got weak. He was the only guy on Big Door with obviously Captain being down, but someone should come and support Drac there a lot faster. One of Stark or Spud, one of them should take control of choke exclusively. The other one should come and help, because the heals are on Big Door. You need to put an extra body there to support Drac. Really quite lucky, to be honest, that Denia didn't stay a bit longer and potentially catch one of them.
Comfortably Spanked have now got both of their soldiers at the Big Door, with Vanny in his hiding position. I always think of Ips in this position because he used to love getting up there, just above the Big Door, and Tom is attempting to bait him in, but Vanny has actually dropped now, and they're going to attempt to get this pick onto Drac, who really hasn't taken that much damage. Captain going to be able to come over and help him as well. But they are playing this one pretty safe here, nameLess. They are 2-1 up, and there's 5 minutes left. The onus is definitely on Comfortably Spanked here to make something happen. And the pressure's on Denia really to open this one up, but it's going to be difficult for him. nameLess are not making it easy.
I honestly feel like nameLess are playing a little bit too safe at the moment. They're kind of inviting pressure to come onto them, and the fact that Denia is on sniper, you're kind of gifting him space all of the time. Drac goes in for a sack now, that's okay, but as long as they have to hold close now, nameLess, they can't fall back and give Denia room to snipe on the choke. Start holding this choke really tight. It's just a question of whether they can control Big Door at the same time, not let sniper in. The Uber comes in really late. Stark actually gets dropped from the Uber, such a huge blunder from Perm. No soldiers in play now, it's just Spud on the straight on the choke, and if he doesn't hit something and get some frags, they're in trouble right now.
Captain took a load of damage as well, and he's only on 40 health. Settler trying to hit pipes onto him. Captain still stuck in this corner, does go down. Vanny going to find that pick, and with both of the both of the players who made that recent class switch down for nameLess. Those are two of their power players, so they are just going to drop back there and allow Comfortably Spanked control of second. And it all looks really doable for Comfortably Spanked. They are 2-1 down, but they have 4 minutes to crack the nut that is the nameLess defense, and they have a slight advantage. Stark falls again.
He was waiting at forward spawn. He was going for a play, I think, but I mean, they saw it a mile in advance. They just kept stickies on the door. I'm not quite sure why he went
They're in for a sack. They're in for a sack, and they find Permzilla. Vanny with the shotgun takes down Perm, and that gives a huge advantage and just sets them up perfectly for this one. All they have to do now is back out, make sure that Skeege stays alive. They can rotate. They can even put Denia back on scout if they just send him to the resub. Don't think that's what they're going to do. No. Vanny has left the spawn door, so Denia is going to stay on sniper. But this has just been gifted to them. This game should now really, by all odds, be tied up.
Yeah, it's a really big ask of either Drac or Spud now. The fact there's a sniper in this last push with advantage, it's a really like Drac or Stark have to make something happen on the flank. They have to get behind, get a frag on Denia, and kind of collapse on them from behind at some point in this push. If that's not happening and Comfy Spank's allowed to just walk in, it's going to be quite ugly.
Oh, Permzilla falls once again to Denia, but they're still having difficulty with the pyro as well, and Stark has come in. He's on 50 health, trying to get Sword down. Does actually fall in the end, but they still have the sentry to deal with, and although the combo is dead, they still have to find all of these frags. Still a ton of people with a load of health here. Drag doing so much work on this pipe, and they just didn't make it work. The execution wasn't there. They got stuck so much by, as much as Denia tries to make it happen, the pyro just stuffed them there completely. They had nobody to deal with it.
There's a complete lack of composure, to be honest. Once that medic goes down, you have infinite time to make that push work. You can use the entire Uber to kill the pyro, fall out, reload everything, and go back in, and Perm's still going to be down. You're still going to have full buffs, and then you can like do it phase by phase, go one thing at a time for gun or whoever. But they just try and win it, they try to win it as fast as they can, rather than as smart as they can. They just
letting it get to their heads.
Yeah, they completely threw that, to be honest. Like they try to do everything too fast, and if they just slowed down and one target at a time, they would have like 2-2 with 2 minutes remaining. But
yeah, and now, as you say, 2 minutes remaining, Admirable, and they have even more of an ask because Skeege is sitting with an Uber disadvantage of about 25%. So that means as soon as he becomes invulnerable, Permzilla has the ability to as well, and he's actually sat inside a sentry as well. That'll stop any spies getting to him.
He has proven that he is pickable. Who is it going to fall on this time to get that Perm pick? Will it be Denia, who's looking for the angle from the lower side? Connects with Spud, but has now been spotted out. Perm is very aware now of that sniper threat. Typical going to find Denia. He's finally showing up to the game on sniper. Puts a notch on his rifle. And time just slipping away here from Comfortably Spanked. The game could have been theirs, but there's only 1 minute and 10 seconds remaining. They have to try and trade the Ubers out here and create some sort of scrappy situation on last. Celis trying to take a peek in through main just to see what he can see. I feel like there's a real lack of information here for Comfortably Spanked. They don't really know what exactly the setup is. That I feel like they could be caught out by the sentry gun.
Well, Denny has gone back to scout. They haven't decided to put this heavy into the play, even though that worked really well for them last time. But with 50 seconds left, they have time for one last push, and then it's all going to be over in one way or another. Happy Cool going spy there just to check to see whether they have any off classes. But here it comes. In comes the Uber charge. They're playing the point here with Tom. Take down Drac. And now they're playing on the point, just stacking as many people on it as possible. But that is going to be bad news as soon as the Uber comes in from Permzilla. They have a player behind, actually. Vanny sneaking up onto the point. Takes down Spud and Captain. Is there anybody else in position to collapse? Yes, Settler attempting to, trying to get something done, but with only Skeege left alive at 19 seconds. That is going to be the map. And that was so close from Comfortably Spanked. They gave it their all there.
Bit of a miscommunication again. I mean, Vanny was committed, but Settler and Skeege had backed out. If they'd just gone in at the same time, they could have made it work, but now we just see the shutter doors coming down here on last. None of those nameless players wanted to step off the point, and they have just about secured a 2-1 victory here, but didn't exactly inspire a lot of confidence, kaidus.
No, they like...
Look at Haffy.
I mean, it's kind of weird because to me it looks like they had all the ingredients kind of, other than the mids that still weren't great, let's be honest, they had kind of all the ingredients for large segments of the play, but they just... It's like they're trying to play like slow still, but they're making so many mistakes that their slow play is actually hindering them. Like they're sitting in this really dangerous middle ground where they're not like playing aggressive and making it like difficult for the other team, but they're not tight. So like when they're doing these captain plays behind in lobby, for example, they're giving away random frags, or when they kill captain and then Comfortably Spanked decide to trade, Perm's dropping Stark. And it's like, if you're going to play this slow game, these small mistakes, these are the things you have to cut out of your game. It's what makes it work. It's not making these mistakes all the time. And they're just making mistake after mistake after mistake. And it's like small, little, like micro errors. It's just costing them so hard because they set up defensively, and you really need to play perfect when you play like that. And they're playing far from perfect at the moment.
Well, they certainly are. But do Comfortably Spanked Admirable have the ability, the talent to exploit those weaknesses? We saw glimmers of it, but they weren't able to string it together into something fluid.
Yeah, like they've definitely kept the pressure up. Like they are putting nameLess outside of that comfort zone. We've seen some good individual plays. Denia showing up to LAN yet again, and Vanny has really been taking on this role where he's like the guy that's like, I'm over here, shoot me, guys, so that everyone else can just back off a little bit off Denia. It gives them that space to try and find these frags. So they definitely have shown they have the tools, but I mean, nameLess, as you said, making a lot of small errors. They seem kind of schizophrenic in their play. Like 1 minute they're trying to hold really solid and look for a clear advantage, and then they're pushing off this like one frag or a bit of damage done and find themselves totally overcommitted. It's
bizarre. It's quite bizarre, and I mean, like, and it's just some of the mistakes. They're just like pure clangers. Like Perm dropping to this spy, like after he got spud, and
that one was
like it's horrendous, to be honest. Like watching like the supposed top team do that, it really can't happen like that consistently. Because I mean, if we think back to that ETF World game, I'm pretty sure this happened like again there. In fact,
with both of the scouts.
It was Denia. He killed Spud, and then he killed Perm later on, right?
Yeah.
This exact same thing happened earlier this week, and like. That's like a 1 in a million, but it happens twice with the exact same 3 players in 1 week. Like, what is going on?
Denny is just a god. He's just incredible. I mean, he is actually really good. He does have excellent timing and an awareness of how the teams are playing, but you can't let that happen. I agree. It is exploiting a mistake rather than making your own individual play.
Yeah, I mean, it takes a good player to exploit his mistake consistently, but the mistake has to be there in the first place. And you really have to like look at Palm and say, like, what on earth is going on there?
Let's take a look at the logs of that game, though, if we can bring those up. And we'll take a look at who individually performed. I mean, we don't have logs. Sorry.
I just want to say that one silver lining of the nameLess performance, for me at least, was Drak, who had a couple of big moments where he really like dug his team out of a hole, whether it was on middle or on even on that last fight where they'd gotten the 2 picks on the door and they were coming in. And he just stayed up on that white pipe and just spammed down. Like he didn't give away an easy frag. He just avoided the sniper sight lines. And
yeah, it was excellent play from them. Let's talk a little bit about the morale advantage as well. That map, although we saw nameLess win it and Comfortably Spanked lose, when we were looking at the player cams afterwards, it was like it was the other way around. Vanny and Ski just sat there smiling, happy. They feel like they just missed out on something, but they had the ability to take it, and that has fired them up. Whereas Haffy was looking a little bit despondent. They were looking around the team. They were like, we should have done better. This is a team that we should be easily able to control.
Yeah, I think going into this map, Perm's not going to be feeling so good. And it's Vidoc now, right? Product.
Yes, yeah.
Like, if your Medic's going into Product not feeling great, you're probably going to have quite a bad time, to be honest. Because, like, Medics, like, having a clear head, making, like, good decisions, like, having confidence as well. Like, these are all, like... These are the make or break things on Product. Like if your medic, it's like probably the most impactful map for medics. If they're having a bad or a good game, it can completely change things. I spoke before about how like when I watch Lego play this map, I feel like Condom's errors repeatedly cost his team get maps on this map. Perm normally a lot more stable, but after that game, that's the kind of game that makes Perm kind of like turn a little bit. He loses his confidence. I'm actually kind of nervous for them now, actually, to be honest.
Admirable, was that, I mean, it was a win for nameLess. Was that the win they needed?
I don't know. I have to agree. Like, just their reactions. Comfortably Spanked are coming out of that game feeling like they won. They've got some momentum, even though they didn't win.
Yeah.
But what I mean?
Even though they lost. They had an opportunity to win. They had multiple opportunities not to win, actually. Let's be clear as well. They were getting ready to push there to tie up the game, and they would have had to go to a golden cap anyway, where they would have had some time to clear themselves and to hash out whatever problems were going on. Is that the kind of process that's going to be going on in between these two maps? Is it Stark that has to be that calming leading voice to settle the waves, pick up the lower players, and make sure that they have the the confidence they need to approach product?
I think so, yeah. I mean, with Stark, you never really know. I mean, I can get quite mad at sometimes as well. He can be the calming influence, or he can be the toxic tiger. You never really know which one you're going to get.
I kind of felt like he was part of the problem. Obviously, we can't hear their comms, but like some of the decisions he was making in the game, like he was the guy who was going into sack, or maybe he should have sent in Drac, or like Stark should have tried to stay alive in some situations rather than go for the gamble play, or like take the whole weight of the push on his shoulders.
Yeah, there were a number of decisions that I can only assume came from Stark in that game that I personally definitely don't agree with, given the context, particularly when Captain was behind and then Stark died, and the way they're approaching some of these trades, some of them just seem broken, like on like a fundamental level. But one thing about Stark is he is really, really like good on product. Even when I was in the lineup, I would mostly just shut my mouth on this map and let Stark lead the way. With him on pocket, he can do that even more so. So I think like it's not like a particularly tall order for Stark to turn things around on product, I think. But I know that in that notorious game they lost against PC Master Race, Stark definitely was not happy. And words were said.
Are you biting your tongue there, Jason?
Words were said. I mean, looking back, everyone agreed with the words Stark said, but his manner of saying them maybe didn't help matters in the moment.
Yeah.
So,
and that's what's important. If he has to step up to this team leader position and be the person who has to pick up the rest of his team and give them the confidence and give them the motivation, perhaps you need the duality, like the good cop, bad cop. Like you need to have somebody there who's telling you all your mistakes just straight to you. And some people do respond to that. Some people, they enjoy having somebody angrily tell them what is wrong, cutting straight to the meat of the issue and being able to resolve it. But I think you also need somebody who's just able to pick everybody up on the team and inspire confidence in them as well.
Yeah.
And
who is that guy on the nameless side? Who's the cheerleader? Who's got the pom-poms out,
I think it is Stark in his kind of dual role. He can either be one or the other, or perhaps he can be both. He'll have to be both. But what I would also like to discuss as well is the addition of Spud into the roster. How do you feel his mental game is in terms of how he's able to cope in matches? Do you feel like he ever gets on tilt from the times that you've spent, not playing with them, but coaching them, being in the mumble with them? What's his mental atmosphere like?
I think in scrims he can lose his head a bit in scrims. Like if something happens that he doesn't like or disagrees with, or like if someone says something about his play that he doesn't agree with, he can like kind of put his head out of the game in scrims. But I think in matches he's one of those people. He's just all about the task at hand, and everything else goes aside. He might come out of it feeling like really like resentful about something or other, but in the match he's not going to it's not going to matter. I think Spud actually played pretty well in that game. Like he had some big moments.
Yes.
Mids were not convincing again. He died early on a couple, but he had that really like incredible sequence defending second and pushing to mid where he got a 4K. Him and Perm saving that one last defense together.
Yep.
He was quite solid. I didn't see him die. Other than the mids, I didn't see him dying. Like I didn't see him making mistakes, and that's really what this team wants from him. Going into product, like my question marks are Perm and Captain. I don't think Captain had the strongest game. I think he'll be more comfortable on product if he can get his game going, but Captain can be an emotional player. If he gets a good start, it can be great. If he gets a bad start, it can weigh him down quite a lot. So I'm looking for Captain to turn it around on this map. And I think if the team is playing well, Perm's going to get his head sorted as well, because Perm just kind of, when things go bad, Perm goes bad, and when things go well, Perm goes
rolls
well.
with the team atmosphere.
Basically.
Yeah.
It's just like it's like a little weight they pull along.
Like an anchor, a chain around their ankles.
When it's time to sail away, he'll come up with them. But
yeah, Admirable. What are they going to have to do to deal with comfortably Spanked's strategy, which I assume we're going to see from them, which is where they just have Denia sat on the Machina Sniper and they have Vanny kind of switching between pocket and scout when required. It's going to be the impetus really is on nameLess to try and deal with that threat rather than just allow him to get pigs. Do you think?
Yeah, I mean, what they definitely shouldn't do is put Haffy on Sniper, because he didn't seem to be having much of a success
rate. He got one kill
versus Denia. He did get him once, yeah.
Yeah, on last.
But I think they're going to have to try and dictate the pace of the game rather than allow comfortably Spanked to force them on the back foot, like we saw in the Lego game during the season. We got to see just clear, decisive action from Stark.
Well, we have gone live, and this is Proto. This is map 2, and this is the first mid-fight. In comes Stark, and Drac is already behind as well. It's nameLess with the aggression, and they are trying to pressure out comfortably Spanked any way they can. Denny is still on that sniper, but hasn't hit anything, hasn't been given the opportunity to hit anything, and that is a full wipe just straight off the bat, crushing them.
That is exactly what I wanted to see. Just don't even give them a chance to set up straight across the point, put that pressure on, and now that they have control of the middle here, they can just wait until maybe Skeed shows himself slightly overcommitted, and they can push hard across on these uber advantages if they want, or they can try and run the clock down and play defensive and gamble against the Denia sniper. He is back on the field and moving in from the right hand side. He will have that angle onto the cliff there. Permzilla's dropped down to get a kit, but Denia does ring out a shot but doesn't get a frag for it, and 4 frags coming in again here from nameLess, just mopping up comfortably Spanked. Skeed survives though, but he's got no one to build with. So they're just kind of, wasting their own time here.
That was a pretty poor play. And something springs to mind now. I remember thinking back to the Lego game where they played against a sniper a lot, did nameLess, and they gifted way too much space to the enemy team as they pushed the point when nameLess were in control. And with Denia most likely going to snipe along this map, it's A, really important they get these forward holes that they currently have going. Really important they get those going, and 2, when they don't have them, that they're still playing aggressive and not letting them come out. But Settler gets the force just there.
Settler just bombed out from main and pulls out his pipes, hit one onto Permzilla, and Permzilla had to pop, or felt like he had to pop at least, because Settler was right in his face with a pipe ready to go. So they managed to force that one out just so easily. Whoever was supposed to be watching main there, maybe a scout, just didn't get the initial read onto Settler. They'd already lost one player on the left-hand side, and this has opened things up. They're going to attempt a half-forward hold just to try and delay them as much as possible, making sure they keep everybody left alive, though, and they are back to the point. But now they have the uber disadvantage, so Skeej has the ability to just push in here whenever he feels like it, but they're going to try and get the most value out of this possible. Well, nameLess going to attempt to force it out of them and make it useless. In comes Drag though, and that starts the Uber Force, and Hank falls as well. So does Tom. This is disastrous for them. They've just about got the cap time though in order to take the point, but
they're not even going to get it.
No, they're not. In comes Happy Gold, blocks it. They do actually get the point in the end though, but this is going to be a scrappy fight looking in favor here of nameLess as they try and recapture this point.
Yeah, nameLess let them cap this basically. They let them cap it so the respawns can come back in their favor before they're capping the point. So like now, nameLess have to recap it, but you can see they're not really fussed about capping it until they get their spawns up, until they can actually go with 6 guys. Then they'll try and cap it, and they'll try and cap it with 6 guys alive. But it's actually getting a bit messy for them now. They might regret this decision.
Oh, here comes a bomb as well. Tom tries to get onto Permzilla. Oh, he actually takes him down. The final direct rocket there from Tom. I thought he'd whiffed it. He had the shot, had another opportunity given to him, and manages to get onto Perm. So big play from Tom there.
The kind of little action that set up was that Perm went back for a med pack and Stark was still holding forward looking for health. So by the time they started to walk into the fight again, Stark wasn't really on full health and he was just gibbed instantly, and Perm was left exposed. 3 players going down here. Comfortably Spanked are going to take control of the point, but it's a tricky situation for them right now. There's only 35 seconds left on their clock and they're still up here at 2:20. So we have to see some solid play coming out. They're about to face perhaps a suicide push here from nameLess. They've got cookie cutter formation up. 2 scouts, 2 soldiers, and a demo man looking to put the hurt onto Skeej to try and make him pop that Uber. But
oh, he gets him! Denia gets him with a fully charged mag and a body shot. Again, down goes Permzilla. Not having the greatest game here. Skeej can pop it off almost with impunity, but he would have liked to hold on to that one for the next push, but he's still going to have a bit of an Uber advantage if they build it up. No, actually, it's going to be even. Permzilla has just spawned, hasn't met up with anybody though, and they are going to pick up Captain, so they retain control of the point, but starts in on behind. Actually got Settler there before getting cleaned up by Skeej, so Permzilla just not his day at all.
And it was such a poor sequence of play after that. Like, they were going to have numbers if they all survived. If they all died quickly or survived once they got the pop out of Skeej, they would actually have had like a 2, maybe even a 3-man advantage. And they would retake mid for free. Even though it was a complete blunder, they actually could salvage it and take mid, but they just die one by one. And now Captain dying, like just losing players, like it's the worst thing you can do on Pro, just giving players away one by one, because it's just staggering the clock away from you for now actually committing bodies onto the point.
Yeah, here they go forwards, but once again Tom comes in, down goes Perm. Oh, this is unbelievable, the consistency with which Tom is able to get onto Permzilla, and it doesn't even look like Perm's positioning is that bad from what I can tell. It's just that he's either not being denied or finding the perfect opportunity. They try and get back in onto Skeej, but Skeej survives. Vanny is just sat with him, making sure nothing can go wrong with his medic. So I believe Skeej has only died something like once so far, whereas Permzilla sat in, I don't know, he's approaching double-digit deaths very rapidly in this first round, and they've managed to equalize the time here.
Yeah, it's just about to tick down into favour of comfortably Spanked here. Red team in the lead, and they have that fat overcharge. Drag's going to jump in, but get cleans up immediately by Tom.
Oh, whiffing his rockets as well.
Foolish there as well. They've sent 4 players in and not yielded either a frag or a force here from Skeech. He's just sitting pretty on that 100% overcharge. This is really comfortably Spanked's round to lose right now.
It certainly is. They're going to be looking to maybe give up control of the point here as Permzilla comes in. Try and get the force out of Perm, give up control of the point, get themselves the spawn advantage that gives. What a great force, that double sync soldier spam. Forces it out from Permzilla so early, and they're going to be getting onto the point now. They're actually just going to try and straight up defend it. Only Stark happy and Permzilla left alive, and the first round goes to comfortably Spanked.
What a throw.
Skeech is happy about that one.
That was such a strange round because they burned off like almost 2 minutes on just their first cap. Like
yeah, full 2 minutes.
And then they just blew after that. Like Perm dying over and over and over again. I don't know whose fault it is, but I mean, he's walking in sniper sightlines. He's getting bombed when he's completely alone. I know Stark's told him to stop doing this thing where he runs away without telling him properly. I feel like Stark probably has no idea where on the map Perm is half the time at the moment.
Well, let's see if they repeat the same mistakes again. In comes a big bomb here from Drac as he tries to get onto Denia, but doesn't actually do the damage to him, really. He collects a health kit, and they're going to try and take things back into control again. Last time their mid-fight was excellent from nameLess. They are managing to pick up these frags. They've got the 2 key ones of Settler and Skeech. In comes the counter bomb. Great air shot there, and both of the soldiers have been destroyed there. So down go Vanny and Tom. They didn't get anything for it. The capture point has not been ticked off, but Denia still in this tunnel. Oh, he was getting so cheeky there.
Really wanted to find that frag and bring his team back into the round, but it has been pretty much one-way traffic so far here in round number 2 for nameLess. And
but they haven't managed to get any time for it, though. They've managed to win 2 team fights now, really, and they've only just now capped the point, so it just starts ticking. We can see Denia on Spy, though, and this is such a rare thing to see on Viaduct, I feel.
It's actually Vanny on Spy.
Oh, is it Vanny? Oh, I just assumed it was Denia. I didn't even look at the name, actually, and he's coming up behind. Oh, this could be incredible. Permzilla once again, just the back is presented, and down he goes. That is Perm wiped off the map. Vanny actually survives as well. I hope we're not going to see him come back in. Oh, we do. Spud goes down as well. Just Spud and Perm every time. It doesn't matter who is on the Spy class here. Kaidus shakes his head in disgust, and it's going to be a full team wipe there for nameLess. They didn't even manage to get the force out of Skeech. What is going wrong with these Spy players? Comfortably Spanked gods at Spy. I feel like there's a duality here. There's got to be serious problems.
I mean, there's definitely something going on with Comfortably Spanked where they have like good like sync top Spy plays, but it's something I've been noticing about Permzilla's game for a while now. He just spies, man. Some people just don't look around. They don't think about this kind of stuff. But now it's imperative that nameLess actually get some kind of force out here. They actually do get the force from Skeech. Vanny's back up on heavy now. But they at least get the force, which is vital. Happy Tool going down really late, that's really not great to be honest, but...
Vanny on heavy was the only round that they managed to win against... Oh, I can't even remember who it was against. Who were they playing on? Product. Was that against nameLess again in the most recent league game? And they managed to come out on top? I can't remember anyway,
was
but...
that the map we just watched?
No, on Product.
Oh, right.
On Product. No, on a league game on Product.
Okay.
I obviously should have done my research better, but... They definitely like this play, and they're excellent at it. Oh, in comes Tom with another big bomb. Again, gets straight onto Perm without being denied at all. Gets 100 damage onto him, but this time Perm flies away and has to pop off his Ubercharge here. But Denia's gone down as well. That's a 6v4 situation, and Vanny's going to try to escape here with his life. He's actually dueling people and picks up both of the frags. Is he going to be able to get captain as well? Surely not. He goes down, but he traded for both of the soldiers there, and they have a 40-second advantage in terms of the cap time.
There's going to be no soldiers. Like, this is basically going to be a free take. Unless Spud can get something with a trap, this is basically a free take from Spanked. There's no soldiers to bomb. Drax is spawned. Stark's still down. Spud's spamming, so you know he hasn't got trap. Happy Tool's dying to a sniper, and they're getting this point completely for free. I really can't see it. It's going to be so difficult. They don't even get the force. They drop 3 players and they don't even get the force.
Get denied.
Tom,
the shutdown there onto Drag.
Tom is playing so well. The glimpses that I've seen of Tom, yes, he's getting onto Permzilla when there's nobody there, but he is hitting his rockets, and he just applying pressure there, takes down Spud. He is really playing well. I wondered whether he would step up to the plate. He doesn't really have any line experience in a good team. He doesn't even really have experience in a good team, but he is stepping up to the plate here.
1 minute and 10 seconds here on this Spanked plot. Skeege's uber advantage has just been eroded there. Perm now with his own charge starting to walk in. Perm already down to half health though with the spam. He's going to pop on the Stark here. Stark has to go deep to try and force. Skeege isn't going to mess around, he just pops off. He's going to respect that uber soldier, and they're looking to see if they can clean up Stark behind. He is churning their heads a little bit here. Comfortably Spanked, looking very much uncomfortable as they just start to retreat.
Oh, Tom again! Tom is just doing, he's so good at the moment. He jumped in, saw the perfect opportunity when Happy Gold was forced to go aggressive in order to make use of the room that was given to him. Floods forward, manages to get a great rocket onto Permzilla and takes him down, but nameLess in the meantime have tried to go aggressive themselves, and they've got a fairly decent trade out of the situation, but killing a lot of people.
They were absolutely screwed for a moment, but they just go for a full commit. There was red health on about 4 players, but they managed to find 3 or 4 frags between them, and it actually completely salvaged this round for them. I think if they didn't do that, if that play didn't work, then this round is over. Now they at least have a fighting chance.
They still have a 40-second disadvantage, and the respawn timers are in favor of Comfortably Spanked, so they're just going to retake the point once again. And there's only 40 seconds left here. In terms of Ubers, they're both equal at about 40%. But this is on nameLess to try and retake, because they can't afford to let this timer tick down any longer than 30 seconds. Otherwise, they're going to be down 2-0 on what should be one of their best maps. I mean, Comfortably Spanked did pick it. I wasn't expecting a performance like this. Denia hits a headshot onto Hafikul. They're trying to deal with Stark, who's gone behind again. But Tom wins the 1v1 there. Settler as well, trying to pump out damage. There's a lot of aggressive players on. Captain is just manning up.
They are going for it. They're not going to give Denia any opportunity to hit more shots, but
Skeege stays alive. There's like 4 players on him, and somehow he managed to stay alive, just juking and dodging. And I think that was Drag who whiffed the rocket right at the end there, and they've managed to push it into overtime. They have a minute just to recap.
Uber popped off here by Perm and Skeege in response. Immediately, now as the Ubers just fade, we see nameLess trying to play position here. Stark up on the cliff is getting chipped away at slowly but surely, but they have to commit to the point here if they want to block it and just stop Comfortably Spanked taking the round outright. 3 players, 4 players down right now for nameLess. This is surely all she wrote here for round number 2. That's going to be the complete team wipe. Let's Comfortably Spanked show us why it is they picked this map.
Good God. And I'm just glancing over at the players there. Hafikul he's got his head in his hands, just rubbing his eyes like, what is going on here? They're 2-0 down on Product. They didn't even have this performance against PC Master Race. They went up 2-0 and they were 1 point away from taking it, and then came back to a comeback. But this is not looking good here.
Yeah, I really don't understand what is happening with the combo at the moment, because Permzilla's just dying like all the time. And I mean, a lot of credit can be given to Tom for that, but for him to find these situations time and time again where like where he can get his rockets off before he's even taken care of, it's so bizarre. And nameLess have actually won all the mids, and they're again in control of this mid. Skeege is really far back down this side. They've got complete control of the point. Hafikul's just built and forward, taking a 1v1. He doesn't need to take it. He actually gets Denia as well.
Gets spurred.
And Hafi's actually chasing Skeege. I don't think he's going to reach him, but I mean, they win the mid convincingly. Permzilla survives. They're in full control again. Third round in a row. They take mid. And they don't just take mid, but they establish control off the back of it.
So what's the difference here with the mid fight and then how the wider team fights are happening? Why are they not able to have such dominant team fights if they're able to dominate the mid fights? It's essentially just a team fight, right?
A lot of them, it's Denia, because a lot of the time Hafikul's just getting body shot across the map, but Hafikul's not there. I think that's one of the big disconnects in the combo at the moment, is the absence of Hafikul in various situations. That kid needs to stop getting sniped for a start, and beyond that, I think it's just confidence. Confidence from Perm, confidence from Stark, confidence from Perm in Stark, should I say.
Well, Stark tried to get behind there, but down he goes, and Hafikul has fallen. They had to pop off super early there, just gave control of the entire point to Comfortably Spanked, tried to re-push it, but had to force super early because of Denia on Sniper. Drak trades with Tom, and they both go down. But in terms of control of the point and time ticking down, it's Comfortably Spanked who are in the driving seat now, despite losing the mid.
I mean, again, Stark's kind of taking the whole weight of the push on his shoulders. Like, they flashed him in so he could get behind. He kind of sucked out in the 1v1 versus Vanny there, but like, it's just it's painful to watch this. Like, they're really looking like they're struggling right now. You just see Comfortably Spanked backing off towards that left-hand side, that cliff side, soaking up the aggression here, finding those frags. Hafikul's trying to get in here into the cluster of reds, but won't find a frag for all his efforts. They do lose control of the point, but they're going to be able to retake it immediately. Denia rushes forward and guns down Permzilla. And it's it's just looking like nameLess have let their heads hang a little bit here.
Here comes Spud. He's trying to make a play, trying to get onto Skeege, drops him down to 80 health, but that was just a solo play. I mean, maybe that's a sign of tilt, or maybe he, you know, they're preparing for a push and he was stuck in. I'm not really sure, but he just goes in on his own, not able to make anything happen. The big difference in how these two teams are approaching the fight on the point and the defense as well is that nameLess just seem to be giving up the point and attempting to fight the repush, whereas Comfortably Spanked, they're kind of getting the pick and allowing nameLess to throw bodies into them, and Permzilla dies to a sticky trap. This guy, I mean, he's got to be on tilt from this. He's just getting destroyed again and again.
Yeah, I think they're losing their heads at this point. Like, the biggest problem for them is there's one scout on the field most of the time for Comfortably Spanked, but you're never seeing anything happen on the flank for nameLess. I mean, we can point at Perm dying, we can point at Happy getting body shot and things like this, but half the time there's an opening on the flank and Tom's just locking it down single-handedly against 2 or 3 players, and it's just not like...
Captain, though, this could be the silver lining, takes down Skeege, gets Vanny as well, just opens things up off the back of a nice bomb from Stark, and they are going to be able to retake the point now. They have 2.5 minutes. This is the final round if they lose it, so it's match point here to Comfortably Spanked. They have to win this round here, nameLess, and they're trying. They've got control of the point now, ticking it down. Just approaching 2 minutes left for them, but there's only 50 seconds for Comfortably Spanked. They have to try and come back into this, and maybe they need to bust up in the flank or something, but they have to show that they're capable of performing on product.
They have to play way more aggressive when they have control of the point. Like, Denny is sniping half the time, so it's a freebie-like aggression anyway. Palms down again. They just go in and take him. It's like, honestly, it's just free pickings at the moment. Like, they just go in and take him down.
They had nobody in a position where they were able to deny the bombs, and they all just came in at once. It was excellent sync from Comfortably Spanked. 3 players literally jumping at the same time from different angles, all onto Permzilla, who was stuck in a corner. I mean, it couldn't have gone better for them. And they've actually got a player forwards as well. I believe that's Vanny, but it might be Tom. It's Vanny, and he's going to be hiding. He's actually able to get in onto Perm. If he had a slightest bit more health there, Permzilla would have gone down because he was only on 50 HP. But does get defended by his pocket scout, and this is starting to look better here for nameLess. They have only a 30-second disadvantage
They
now.
have to just read the sniper here. Like, they can't wait for Denny to get a headshot and then decide that there's a sniper. Look, they see him. Why aren't they going forward? Now they're going forward. Finally, 4 rounds into the game, they decide, okay, now's the time they're going to go forward and take this fight with the sniper. Like, if they're getting close, he's useless. He can't do anything unless he pulls off a miracle. But it's taken them this long to do it, and it's the same mistake we saw them make against Lego as well.
Admirable pulling off a miracle, not that hard for Denny, it would seem.
Very much so. And there's the headshot, just to punctuate that one. Stark is going to go down, so that spam damage missing from this engagement. Tom's going to jump forward to try and put the pressure on the Spud, make a little bit of space. And Setlet's going to claim that frag. 2-man advantage here as they retake control of the point. They had just gone behind in terms of time, but it looks like they'll be able to re-establish themselves now. But it is going to be Uber versus Uber here, and it's going to be very telling how exactly Perm and Stark decide to take this engagement. They're very aware of that. Denny a sniper threat, and he's just on the little edge there, watching over, and Stark has to have the Uber popped onto him, and it's kind of one of these nothing plays again. They've sent Stark behind, hoping he's going to pull out a miracle, but he's not Denny, he's going to die. And now with the repush here, Perm's already weak, catching damage there from Setlet. Setlet's just mopping up the frags here on the point as Perm isn't able to really heal anyone or engage in that fight, and it seems like Comfortably Spanked might just take this straight 3-0.
This would be ridiculous. If they're able to take this in 3-0, this is an absolute collapse. They're going to be looking good for the final map as well. nameLess have to rally themselves if they want to really stay in this. This would be so bad for morale. They're getting back on the point, but it is overtime for Comfortably Spanked. They have 40 seconds just to recap. If they cap the point, they will win the map and send it to a 3rd in the fixture. And this would be huge. This is such an upset if they manage to pull it off.
Big drag, drags the ball, raining rockets down on Skate. Skate is so weak. Drag's decided to turn around though, but that medic pick could have been crucial. By the time they actually push through, Perm is probably going to have his own charge up. So it's really going to be anyone's fight here. You have to favour that defender's advantage though. This is a crucial opportunity here for nameLess. All they have to do is trade the Uber successfully, keep their players alive, and then collapse on the point.
Here come the Uber. They pop it out before Skeege, so Skeege is going to get a better side of this engagement. They're playing the point as well, ensuring that they have overtime for afterwards. Is anybody going to chase Stark, who's taken a great position for the after Uber? He's going to drop down, takes down Vanny. Sputter's already fallen though, and down goes Settler, so a lot of frags being traded. It's 4v4. They're attempting to get time on the point, and they do have the faster respawns, but it's only Skeege left alive. Vanny is going to get the spawn here, and the cap time is slowly decaying. If that cap time decays, then it's going to be nameLess with the victory, so they have to throw bodies on it. Here comes the Spanked, but they're not going to manage it, and that is going to be 2-1. They rescue that one. Absolutely safe, but there's no signs of elation on the side of nameLess. They realize there's a task ahead of them.
They need to just wake up, honestly. Like, when they have control of the point, they just have no idea how to play against a sniper. Like, or at least they know how to do it, but they're just not doing it. Like, when they make this messy and make it like a DM fight, get people behind, exploit the flanks, they make it so much dirtier, and they're actually winning a lot more fights that way. But again, we're seeing them only fix their mistake like 3 rounds into the game, and they've already, maybe it's too late at this point.
Well, perhaps, but Drac has got something to say about that one. Flies in, gets a lot of damage on Skeege, and Settler sets them up for a brilliant mid-fight. So once again, the 4th mid in the row goes very firmly in the favor of nameLess. The only key difference this time is that Skeege survived and Permzilla died.
Yeah, but it's going to be interesting to see what nameLess do with the situation as well. I can see this kind of turning nasty for them immediately. Like, potentially bodies bleeding out, Skeege taking the point for free, and then nameLess having to do something and actually like burning off a minute of their own clock. But they're actually keeping 6 guys alive, so it's going to be a kind of 6v6 engagement. nameLess is going to really clean force now. Not doing anything else, he's in the force.
Well, that's not clean. Happy dies already, Admirable.
Yeah, he's been called out numerous times so far in this cast, but is again that first frag in the engagement. Captain and Stark both going down, but Skeege at least did have to pop off his charge here. But look at this position on the cliff. Skeege going to surf out on the rocket of Drac, and Drac actually unable to win the 1v1 against Vanny either. But so close to getting that med pick. Back to the drawing board though for nameLess. They do have this uber advantage with Permzilla having stayed alive 60% right now, but they're already starting to walk forward, and Denia is taking a kind of aggressive angle there. I gotta see this Denia cam.
It's all on him. If he's able to open this one up, he sees people just floating around. They're not limiting themselves to certain sightlines. Down goes Happy once again. Permzilla felt a really quite weak health there. Collector health getting is going to be on about 90 health as he comes forward. Just about gets the Uber charge now, and Stark's going to be bombing super deep in along with Drac. Captain gets taken down, but they get the frag onto Denia as well, so there's no sniper to be worried about. Skeege has escaped with his Uber charge, but the fact that they managed to pop Permzilla there is pretty much all that they were going for. It doesn't matter that they lose those players, they'll get pretty early spawns, and comfortably Spanked will want to re-push. They've actually bled slightly more time off the clock, although it's fairly dead even in this 4th round.
He's sitting here with his full charge. Coming in towards the right. Vanny playing scout, of course, with Denia still sniping. So it looks like it's going to be on Settler to take this charge forward and just work it in it slowly but surely, and Stark is going to get caught out by Denia as he tries to contest or get information for his team. The pop comes in here from Skeege. Permzilla only at like 45%. Uber isn't even going to take any piece of this fight. They'll be happy to have just treated Uber charge there for control of the point, and they'll go for this leapfrog play now, but still 70% for Perm. Going to need a few more seconds to build that one up. Settler holding forward on the right hand side. The aggressive trap on the middle entrance. Where is Denia right now? All eyes on Denia. He's all the way back on China again there, and this is the kind of push we've seen them struggle with again and again. Uber advantage, but still having to deal with that Denia sniper. They've opted to Uber early most times, but Frag has already got a frag onto Tom.
That was so close. Denia just had the perfect angle there onto Perm. None of them realized they were walking out into the sight line. That was just, I could almost feel the drop coming, but somehow Denia whiffs the shot, not able to connect it, and Permzilla gets away with that one. Just so close though, and now they've just leapfrogged again. They're trading their Uber charge advantage for the point every single time. Both of these teams so far having good executes, and now they're holding forwards.
It's about time as well. They really need to like start finding a way to burn time away, because they're not going to hold the point. They need to find something else to do. Vanny actually almost gets into Perm, but actually hits the wall and just gets ever so denied at the ever so last moment. But it's actually pretty decent. Perm survives. Denia just now spawning with Skeege, so Skeege actually not building, so this advantage that they have, I don't actually know why they made this play, because they had an advantage to begin with, but things have all kind of evened out. But once again, Denia on sniper. Are we going to see nameLess just stand back and let Denia take shot after shot as his team pushes forward, or are they going to take this fight forward? Like, it's the only thing that's worked for them so far, but it's like they don't learn and they haven't actually like implemented this into their game plan.
Vanny back on heavy as well, so Vanny on heavy is going to help Hank take down Stark. Down he goes. There's a 30-second advantage here in terms of nameLess's time on the point, but they're getting a really good push out. They do pop off that Uber charge. Happy leading it forwards, but Skeege now with the pretty late pop, and they've got Vanny to come in on the repush as well. Spud so high up in the air, gonna fall down. Takes quite a bit of damage, but healed back up. And we've just seen a bit of a reset there. Tom and Captain exchanging lives with each other, and it's comfortably Spanking control of the point. But that forward hold bled out so much time that nameLess are actually in a pretty decent position now.
Vanny took out all the needles here from Skeege as he tries to deny the pressure forward, but he doesn't realize that Drac and Stark had already come from behind, and they managed to focus down Setlet there. The heavy, not really...
Denia got Permzilla again!
Oh my god.
And that's huge because that just sets up Skeege with a gigantic advantage. 80% ad that he's going to be able to walk his heavy and sniper in. They need to collapse on them pretty quickly, and that's exactly what nameLess are attempting to do. They're trying to get in, but the heavy is just mopping them up. Down goes Stark and Drac. Halfy cool. Spud has all been sent to the spawn queue. They have got to wait to get back into this fight, but they bled a lot of time off the clock. Comfortably Spanked now have to hold for a minute to win this map.
They should just do something different now. Because they know the situation, they know it's a heavy and a sniper. If I was them, I would just do something completely different. Like, take their own sniper, take crits. Just do something, like, completely to surprise them. Because it's actually really, really difficult to push against this now. Uber disadvantage, heavy sniper. I don't actually know what I would do other than just think of something that's going to, like, catch them off guard.
Well, they've chosen to push both of their soldiers down into that flank, but once again, Tom holding it pretty well. Gets the trade onto Drac with the help of Hank, and Stark is also pretty weak as well. Does get cleaned up by Hank, so again, they've gone for that 2-for-1 trade on the flank. Not what nameLess were looking for. Vanny dodging the pipes as well. Spud not able to connect. Hank going to get healed up, and they're going to attempt to play on this point, but Happy wins the 1v1, forces the Uber charge, and they're going to have to get onto this. With the Uber out of the equation now, though, Permzilla has a great opportunity, as long as he doesn't get picked by the body shot master.
Skeege really wanted to hold on to that Uber charge, and they just had to pop off right at the end when there was like only him and the scout remaining, but they have created an opening here that Permzilla and Stark want to exploit. You're going to see the pop off again. They're very much scared of that Denia sniper. They're just trying to cap the point as well. Nobody's going to contest. Setlet's dancing on here. Skeege is juking around, trying to make something happen, but the bodies are just hitting the floor here. But somehow, the 2 quick frags coming in there from Setlet.
What the hell? Oh my god, the clutch from Spud is unbelievable. Spud runs in, hits every pipe. Permzilla pressures down whoever it was who was left weak at the end, Vanny, I think, and they somehow bring it back.
My main question is, how did they get to that point? Because they were so much control in that push. Like, once they Ubered, they had the point sealed, they had Siggies on the point. How did Comfortably Spanked even get back into that? I don't even know.
Settler bombing the point and trying to put down fight. But here we go, the last mid-fight of this map. 2-2, the final round. And in come nameLess with what they're attempting to make another really dominant mid-fight, but they've lost Drac and Captain very early on. They trade for Tom and Settler, though, and the positioning still fairly good here for Comfortably Spanked if they can keep Skeege alive, 50%, and this is the one mid that they really wanted to win, and they've lost it, but Permzilla stays alive from that one.
The script was just thrown out the window for that one. Spud was in deep, the entire team was in deep, and Perm was just running away from almost like 10 seconds in. As soon as one frag went the other way, the book was out, they were all in deep, didn't work, Skeege survived. Daniel on sniper, another mountain to climb for them. But they really have to start being more creative with these pushes against the snipers, though. It's time and time again, we just see them pop early with Stark, do a kind of mediocre trade, Stark goes behind. Half the time he trades for Denia, the other half, nothing happens.
Looks like they're setting up here on the left-hand side. Stark's going to jump in, and Skip jumps off the wall to try and get behind. They're looking to focus down Tom again, but it's Hank who's going to be there to keep Tom alive momentarily, but Drac with the follow-up by Drac versus Vanny there on that right-hand side. As nameLess were able to walk forward a little bit. Captain helping out there on that flank fight.
Drac?
What the hell?
That was so close to a disaster. How did Drac find himself in that situation? I have no idea.
Yeah, Drac almost just walked into him and was gifted just the medic pick, possibly even a demo as well, but doesn't manage to find that one. Wasn't expecting so many bodies just to be suddenly thrown in his face as well. And they have managed to knock off a minute from the clock here. Tom got pressured on the right-hand side, but down goes Vanny and Settler, and nameLess really trying to make an aggressive defense happen here. Dania not really given much opportunity to even scope in, but
they've survived with 6 guys. They could so easily set up a forward hold now. If they just, yes, I was just going to say, if Drak had lost that 1v1 with Tom, they wouldn't have had a forward hold. It would be over. But now I think they can forward hold. We see Spud sticking close. Denya's still on sniper. So unless Denya can get a headshot, or Settler could just bomb from main again, which would never really happen, they could bleed time here really badly. And excuse my bias, it slipped out for a second there.
Obviously, you want your boys to win, but they got their backs against the wall here. If they were to lose, if they had lost in straight rounds, it would have been absolutely devastating for them. Oh, Spud is going to actually crack. They're not quite able to slow down his momentum enough by surfing on that rock.
Close though.
And yeah, it was super close. He really nearly made that work, but Vanny trading for Spud. That's going to favor comfortably Spanked here, and the Uber is popped. Stark going to lead this one in, trying to get the force out of Skeech. He replies, but it's a much better Uber here for comfortably Spanked. What value can they get for it? Settler bombing in deep is going to try and put stickies down everywhere. Permzilla falls to a flank from Vanny, who respawned on the scout roll, and this is a great team fight here from comfortably Spanked. The after Uber played perfectly. Oh, and Spud, no, not able to hit a pipe. Oh, whiffing pipe after pipe. Just had so many opportunities there to take down Skeej, who was just right in his face, but the wiggles too much for him.
It would have been tough. If he'd hit one, Skeej was like going to be airborne. And
Yeah,
would
yeah.
have had to be a pretty 6-second pipe to do it. I mean, he probably should have hit one, but I wouldn't have expected to back there.
Angle from Denia. The angle as he just peeks down, but he couldn't get a sight onto Permzilla. He gets one there though, and Permzilla brought down to 17 health and then finished off with a chip drop from Vanny. Denia follows it up with another headshot onto Stark. The man is going wild.
Tom quite instrumental in that as well. He was behind, distracting, turning some of the heads from nameLess. Just not enough bodies left in the field though for comfortably Spanked to contest that point, but now he's sitting here with a fat advantage. Probably just going to start walking in again. They got Hank on heavy this time, so it looks like the setup is cliffside. Denia is on the low ground there, starting to walk forward, looking for his angle. Again, action on the flank though as Stark and Captain try to take control. They have picked up Tom, who actually traded with Drak there. But Stark and Captain are trying to come behind here. Hank's not sure what to do. He's focusing behind as the Uber gets popped off on the point. Skeej and Settler looking to move forward there, but a well-worked play it seems from nameLess as they get the pop out for control of the point. And they're going to repush. They might contest this. Hank is so immobile when he's spun up there and not really doing as much damage as he would like to. Spud very weak though, will get mowed down from range. And with Captain going down as well, things swinging back in favour of comfortably Spanked. They still haven't actually lost control of the point yet.
Now it's slowly ticking down, but they still have a time disadvantage compared to nameLess, and they're actually blocking it once again. Settler just taking the heels, running forward. He's got the heavy to back him up though, and here comes Hank trying to come in, but oh, so weak. And Skeej was not there to give him the heals. And now Drak is on to Skeej, gets him in 2 rockets. That's about the first successful medic pick that the soldiers from nameLess have been able to achieve all map, but now Drak is going ham, picks up Settler as well, is going to fall in the end. But
Tom's going to get a chance to. Oh no, he's going back, I think. No, I was going to say, Tom's going to get a chance on Permzilla there. He's actually going to go for it. This could be game defining. Spud denies.
Tom not able to deliver there. Tom has actually been my MVP of the match because he has been holding down the flank so well. When Stark and Drak jump into him, he manages to get a trade every time or better. The last time that he did it, he hit 2 air shots, took down Drak and got Stark to 1 HP, single-handedly. He's just holding that down for him.
They have complete control there. I think they've actually done it. I think they've done the comeback.
This is crazy. Tom tries to make something happen, but with a minute left, they have to try and throw bodies onto it. nameLess have been able to come back from this one, and they get the 3-2 victory, seal it in straight maps. But that wasn't straight maps. That was
anything but straight.
That was something else.
That was a roundabout.
That was very curvy maps. That was a tortuous route to the victory.
Really well played by comfortably Spanked though. I mean, to lose 3 rounds straight at the end, not so great, but their overall performance, I mean, coming into this as we can't say they were anything more than a dark horse coming in.
Yeah.
That's a pretty impressive way to open the tournament up.
Yeah, just announce your arrival with that. They were so close to knocking nameLess out in straight map, not knocking them out, sorry, but winning the map there on Product in just straight rounds. They were so close to a 3-0.
But again, not to diminish the performance of comfortably Spanked, but this is exactly the same pattern we saw when nameLess played Lego in ETF2L. Was it last week or the week before? I can't remember. But either way, nameLess lost the first 2 rounds. Wait, is that the game I'm thinking of? They lost the first 2 rounds, then they came back into it, and then they lost overall. maybe it wasn't the Lego game, but I've seen this exact same pattern from nameLess. The point being, time and time again, where they're just terrible for the first half of the game. And the second half of the game, it's like they remember, oh, okay, TF2 is a game we've actually played before, so let's do a little bit of that, boys. And
well, it was still only just enough to get them in it. I think even though it was 3 straight rounds at the end, each one was so incredibly close. I mean, I think they all went to overtime. I don't think they had a dominant round in it. There was no round where they just had control.
Yeah, and at that point, the pressure's on. So, like, if you leave it that late to actually get into the game, you don't diminish the other team. The other team believes the whole time. Like, Comfrey Spank played with belief. Even when they lose 2 rounds in a row in that 5th round, they're still playing with belief. Like, they know they have a good chance. So, it's a lot harder to crush an opponent when they, when they're up like that. But it's just time and time again we see with nameLess just leaving it like really, really late. They're so lucky to have won this map. Yeah. But if they play like they played in the last rounds at the start, then maybe this game, maybe it's still a close game, but it's not like having to make a 3-round comeback game. And it's just something they do time and time again, something they really have to fix. And it's surely a mentality thing because we see like they have the ability to do it.
Well, they got out of a tough spot there. They would have been sent to Snakewater. They would have had just a terrible feeling going into it. Then they would have been carnage in the Mumble. Tony the Tiger would have been absolutely tearing through them.
There was a brief moment of jubilation here in the crowd, though. Handshakes being exchanged. A wild Max appears.
Knocks the camera almost off its perch, nearly costs us many thousands of dollars, but he has been swiftly slapped around the head by Turbo Tabs, who's on the ball here. But yeah, that was our first fixture, and what a way to kick it off. I think, even though, I was expecting a good game, but I wasn't expecting that good a game, that close and competitive a game between these two teams. So, it just gets me fired up for more. I want to see how Perilous do against these two teams. I want to see whether Crowns can come and actually step up in the same way that Comfortably Spanked have. I think, like you were saying at the beginning of this, where this is one of the best, or maybe the best domestic European event that we've had in years. Yep. And that's a good way to show it with that first game.
Yeah, it's a real great opener. I didn't like it one little bit, personally speaking, but
you had a little moment there where what was it? Tom finally gets killed at the end or something.
Yeah, just nice. I let it slip. I tried to remain neutral for most of it, but I was a bit too invested.
Yeah, well, I think it's going to be super interesting to see how these two teams fare going up. Our next game is going to include neither of these two teams. It's going to be Perilous against Crowns. So, just very briefly, we're obviously going to get into that one a bit later after a break, but how do you see that game going down? Is that going to be a bit like this?
I think it's going to be pretty one-sided. I'm expecting Perilous to show up and smash. Sorry, Twitch chat. It's going to be a roll.
Smokes in chat. Do you agree with that assessment of the game? Do you think Crowns are going to show the same level of play that they have online, looking pretty shaky, just kind of making messy plays all over?
No, I don't think so. I think, well, I'm not sure how you phrase the question, whether yes or no is the right answer at this point, but I don't think Crowns are going to show up particularly, to be honest. I think it's going to be quite comfortable for Perilous. If we're contrasting it to this game, I think Perilous are going to play better than nameLess played just there, and Crowns are going to play worse than Comfortably Spanked. I think Comfortably Spanked are better than people give them credit for. They're starting to get the credit in the last week or so, but they're actually playing really well, right? Quite consistently well, actually, for the last few weeks, whereas Crowns have been on a continual downward spiral. And it's possible that something crazy happens. It's a team on land for the first time. You never really know.
Yeah,
but
Smear just gets the crits and just goes wild with it or something.
Yeah, but the odds are it's going to be relatively comfortable for Perilous. It's not the same type of game as we just saw, where it's like one team out of form playing like a team on the rise, and who knows what's going to happen. It's more like one team's in form, one team kind of blows. I think it's an opening shot one.
We'll see what happens there with these two teams. They're about to set up, though, and just for us, you guys go catch a breather after that one, because we're going to send this over to a break just for a while, show you some lovely commercials, get you to have a look at this, and then we will be back with the game, and that one is going to be Perilous against Crowns.